From returning legends wiggling their way back onto the scene to provide a helpful boost during the inevitable post-Mania lull, to fresh new faces looking to shake up the main roster and hopefully keep hold of their current monikers. These are the stars who will possibly make the headlines after this year's Showcase of the Immortals epilogue. Gareth here from What Culture Wrestling, and here are 10 WWE superstars who could debut or return the night after WrestleMania 38. Number 10, Lita. Even just a few short months ago, it appeared as though we'd likely seen the last of Lita in the Women's Championship picture, with the star last battling in singles competition way back in 2012. But one crowd-popping Royal Rumble appearance later, the highly influential star was duking it out against one of the very names she inspired in Saudi Arabia, battling Becky Lynch over the Raw Women's Championship at Elimination Chamber. Since that unsuccessful effort to gain her first women's title strap in well over a decade, however, Lita has very much disappeared from the WWE landscape, stepping out of the main event picture in order to make way for the long-awaited shot at Big Time's Beck's revenge for Bianca Belair at this year's Show of Shows. Once the dust has settled on that mouth-watering showdown though, bringing back a legend who is very much open to doing business with Vinnie Mac again on the Raw after Mania 38 to add some extra sparkle to the EST or the man's reign with the strap would be a development few would honestly turn their noses up at. Number 9, Lacey Evans. Though WWE's women's division is clearly in a better position than the one it found itself in coming into last year's Show of Shows, largely due to boasting the appearances of Becky Lynch, Ronda Rousey, and Charlotte Flair this time around, there are still a number of notable ladies all yet to arrive back on the scene in time for a spot on the double whammy WrestleMania card. And following on from two of those aforementioned names returning from their impregnation vacations, it now seems all but guaranteed that Lacey Evans will be next in line to make her intriguing comeback post-baby birth. Should the former Marine finally appear on WWE TV for the first time since disappearing in February of last year, in the immediate aftermath of Mania 38, the safe money would be on not expecting her to pick back up where she left off. Said controversial love angle with Charlotte Flair's pops has been all but erased from WWE's recent history, but that still likely won't stop Vinnie Mac from giving the well-regarded star a significant push should she make a Monday or Friday night splash in the week following this year's two-night spectacular. Number 8, Elias. You'd be forgiven for assuming that one of Vince McMahon's one-time favorite playthings had also been quietly given his marching orders in recent times. What with Elias's last on-screen appearance coming in August via vignettes that seemed to confirm the death of his once genuinely hot guitar strumming gimmick. There was talk of the bearded maestro changing things up somewhat when it came to his character not long after, but said plans were then reportedly scrapped due to Elias's reinvention and fresh colourful gear being too similar to that of Randy Savage for the boss. Go figure. Saying that, it's not uncommon for WWE to simply ignore what came before it. So should Elias be given the green light to rock back up on Raw for a Mania encore, it wouldn't come as too much of a shock to see him once again boasting some strings. Yet if the star who has been seen scrapping with everyone from John Cena to The Undertaker over the years isn't thrown back into the mix hot on the heels of the latest installment of the Showcase of the Immortals, you do have to wonder if the charismatic presence has anything resembling a future in the company. Doesn't look good for old Elias. Number 7, Mickie James. Following on from a rather bitter breakup involving the star's belongings being sent to her in a trash bag upon being let go from Vince McMahon's company last April, the announcement of the current reigning Impact Knockouts champion being one of this year's Rumble entrants sent shockwaves around the wrestling world. As it goes, hardcore country surprise and Impact title strap boasting aside, Mickie James's cameo was a sweet but eventually relatively short affair, bowing out of the match after 11 minutes. And while James herself appears to have gained some closure when it comes to her aforementioned embarrassing exit and presentation throughout her last run in the company, the star doesn't appear to be fully against one last run in the company under her hugely popular Impact gimmick. Should both promotions come to a similar agreement in the future, both parties have clearly kissed and made up. So, similarly to Lita, James could both pop an always rampant post-Mania crowd and give a Star of Tomorrow the rub in what could be her genuine last hurrah within Vinnie Mac's empire. Number 6, Carmelo Hayes. For every possessed goober and bizarre rebranding of a ring general,
look at this.
there has also been the emergence of an NXT 2.0 talent who could very much take the main roster by storm. Likely showing up alongside his trusted hype man Trick Williams, the current North American champion sits as one of the most consistent performers the Tuesday Night Offering has on the books at this current moment in time, meshing an eye-catching penchant for high flying and intricate grappling with a loudmouth persona tailor-made for Raw or SmackDown. With the pair already being put through their paces in main roster dark matches towards the end of last year, it does feel as though Vinnie Mac could be eyeing eyeing up the 2021 NXT Breakout Tournament winner for a landscape-shifting debut in front of an electric post-Mania crowd. Should he also drop the A Championship at Stand and Deliver in a no-doubt violent ladder match? All signs appear to point to Melo taking a few shots on the main roster soon enough. Number 5. Asuka. It feels as though fans have been ready for Asuka to make her hotly anticipated in-ring return for an age already. Despite conflicting reports over whether WWE are simply lacking the creative direction needed to effectively reintroduce the charismatic force to the main roster, or whether the Grand Slam champion is actually 100%. If Asuka is ready to go, it makes sense to hold off until after this year's show of shows before throwing her back into the mix. Simply put, being lazily shuffled into the women's tag team title scene late in the day, or rushed into a nothing match to fill out the 2-night card is a waste of the shot in the arm the return of this kind of high-profile performer could genuinely be for WWE coming into their typically stalest period of the year. Having Asuka collide with somebody like Ronda Rousey, should she see off the Queen of Mania, feels like the sort of gripping new direction capable of effectively carrying the company into the summer, should the decorated worker pop back up in front of the post-Mania live audience. Number 4. Bayley. Joining the likes of Lacey Evans and Asuka on the free agency list heading into the latest edition of the Showcase of the Immortals is a star who almost single-handedly made WWE watchable throughout the slog that often was the Thunderdome era. But after cruelly being lumped with a painfully lackluster pasting at the hands of the Bella Twins, as a reward for arguably her strongest in-ring run to date, Bayley was dealt another depressing blow in the form of a torn ACL in July. Since then, Bayley has gone largely missing from WWE, even going undrafted due to said injury. But much like Asuka, talk of the role model's comeback has been doing the rounds for months, and the fact that Sasha Banks' involvement in the Women's Tag Team Championship scene coming into Mania 38 has shelved any potential Boss vs. Bayley plans for this year's show of shows. Having the longest reigning blue-branded women's champion in history re-establish herself as a top threat on the night after the April 2nd and 3rd events feels like a bit of a no-brainer, to be honest, especially with WWE expecting her to be ready to go at the end of March. Number 3. Raquel Gonzalez. Through no real fault of her own, it appears as though Raquel Gonzalez has lost a bit of momentum on Tuesday nights as of late. After rounding off an undoubtedly compelling arc that saw the one-time muscle/pal of Dakota Kai go from henchwoman to top star in arguably the most competitive women's division on the planet, Big Mami Cool has seen her stock drop a touch on the back of losing her NXT Women's Championship strap to Mandy Rose at Halloween Havoc in October, thanks in no small part to the aforementioned Kai. Since then, limp attempts at regaining the gold and an uninspired partnership with Cora Jade have left many wondering what more the performer has to offer to a brand she's already dominated and then some. In short, there isn't that much left for her to do, which makes the arrival of the hulking force on Raw or SmackDown in the wake of Mania 38 feel rather inevitable at this point. Should Gonzalez finally be given the red or blue light after April 3rd, here's hoping she isn't lumbered with the latest baffling NXT name change though, strutting down the ramp under the moniker of Gertrude? Vince, don't you bloody dare. Number 2, Cody Rhodes. From the very moment it was made official that one of AEW's most valuable originals was kissing goodbye to the land of All Elite, news of Cody Rhodes landing on Monday Night Raw has dominated the headlines, coming into just about every edition of the flagship 3-hour marathon on the road to WrestleMania. Yet, 1 month on from that stunning exit, the American Nightmare has still yet to make his presence known in the company he first laced a pair of boots up within. But that's not to say that all hope is lost, with some even suggesting that Cody could be in line for a last-minute program with Seth Rollins heading into the 38th Showcase of the Immortals. However, with the AEW EVP not yet appearing on WWE programming, it's becoming increasingly more likely that Vinnie Mac will wait for the party atmosphere of the Raw or SmackDown after this stupendous set of super shows to pull the trigger on this dashing return. Number 1, Bray Wyatt. In Bray Wyatt, WWE appeared to have found their supernatural answer to the departing dead man, regularly throwing his fiendish alter ego into the spotlight and selling a boatload of clownish merch in the process. But with the former Universal and WWE champion apparently clashing with the boss on a number of occasions in the months leading up to his eventual shocking departure last year, the writing was seemingly on the wall for this one-time top attraction. Yet even in the wake of McMahon's comments on having to let go of dead weight if they're not cutting it, leading many to assume he was talking about the likes of Wyatt in his recent Pat McAfee show appearance, his follow-up of being open to bringing stars back should they have value, and the fans want them to return appears to suggest a Wyatt comeback isn't completely off the cards. Add into that the fact Bray has yet to wrestle in another company since leaving, and the potential re-emergence of this fiendish foe on the Raw after Mania, a whole year removed from his last appearance, seems like the type of stunning McMahon surprise that could force fans to stay tuned for the coming months. He couldn't, CODY. And that's our list of any other WWE superstars who could debut or return the night after Mania 38. Let us know all about them in the comment section right down below, and do not forget to like, share, and click on that subscribe button while you're at it. Also, be sure to head on over to whatculture.com if you're into this kind of thing and want to see some more articles just like the one this video you're watching right now is based on. I've been Gareth from What Culture Wrestling. Thank you as always for clicking on this video today, and I hope I'll see you very, very soon. Bye bye.